I, 28F, recently found out that my husband Nelson, 31M, has been secretly talking to his ex-girlfriend Paula, 30F, for the past year. We've been married for 3 years and together for 6. I always thought we had a good relationship, but now I'm not sure about anything. Nelson and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party. We hit it off right away, bonding over our shared love of indie music and obscure movies. Our relationship moved quickly, and within a year, we were living together. Nelson proposed on our second anniversary, and we got married 6 months later. It was a small, intimate ceremony with just our closest friends and family. I knew about Paula from the beginning. Nelson had told me they dated for 2 years in college but broke up when she moved away for grad school. He said they remained friends but rarely talked. I never thought much of it, trusting Nelson completely. Everything changed last week when I accidentally saw a notification on Nelson's phone while he was in the shower. The message preview showed Paula's name and the words "I miss you too." I felt sick. I know I shouldn't have, but I unlocked his phone, we know each other's passcodes, and found a year's worth of messages between them. The messages weren't explicitly romantic, but they were definitely too intimate for my comfort. They talked about their daily lives, shared inside jokes, and even discussed some of our marital issues. Nelson had been complaining to Paula about things he never mentioned to me, like feeling stressed at work or thinking I was too controlling sometimes. I confronted Nelson as soon as he got out of the shower. He tried to brush it off at first, saying Paula was just a friend and I was overreacting. But when I told him I had read their messages, he got defensive and angry. He accused me of invading his privacy and said I was being paranoid. We argued for hours. Nelson insisted nothing was going on between him and Paula, but he couldn't explain why he had kept their communication a secret from me. He said he didn't tell me because he knew I would freak out and make a big deal of it. I felt like I was losing my mind. Was I really overreacting, or was Nelson trying to manipulate me? I asked Nelson to stop talking to Paula, but he refused. He said I was being controlling and that he had a right to have female friends. I told him it wasn't about her being female, it was about her being his ex and him hiding their relationship from me. He just wouldn't see my point of view. The next day, I called my best friend Lisa, 29F, and told her everything. Lisa and I have been friends since high school, and she's always been my voice of reason. She was furious on my behalf and said Nelson was definitely in the wrong. She suggested I reach out to Paula directly to get her side of the story, but I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I'm so confused and hurt. I thought Nelson and I had a strong, honest relationship, but now I feel like I can't trust him. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if this is a real betrayal. Part of me wants to forgive him and move on, but another part feels like this is a deal breaker. To make matters worse, Nelson's family is very close-knit, and his sister Emma, 33F, has always been wary of me. Emma and Nelson are extremely close, and I'm worried that if I make a big deal out of this, she'll turn the whole family against me. Emma has always thought I wasn't good enough for Nelson, and I'm afraid this will just prove her right in her eyes. Emma's dislike of me started at our engagement party. She overheard me joking with a friend about how I wasn't sure if I wanted kids. Emma, who has 3 children of her own, took this very seriously and confronted me about it. I tried to explain that it was just a joke and that Nelson and I hadn't made any firm decisions about children yet, but she's held it against me ever since. She's always making little comments about how I'm not family-oriented enough for Nelson. I've been staying with Lisa for the past few days to clear my head. Nelson has been calling and texting nonstop, alternating between apologizing and accusing me of blowing things out of proportion. I don't know what to do. Should I try to work things out with Nelson? Should I contact Paula? Or should I just cut my losses and leave? The whole situation has made me question everything about our relationship. I've started thinking back to all the times Nelson was secretive with his phone or stayed late at work. Was he talking to Paula then too? How long has this really been going on? I also can't help but think about our wedding day. Nelson seemed distracted during the ceremony, and at the time I thought it was just nerves. But now I wonder if he was thinking about Paula. Did he invite her to the wedding? I can't remember if she was there or not. Another thing that's been bothering me is a trip Nelson took for work about 6 months ago. He went to Chicago for a week, and now I'm wondering if he met up with Paula while he was there. He was acting strange when he got back, very distant and moody. At the time, I thought it was just stress from work, but now I'm not so sure. I feel like I'm at a crossroads in my life, and I don't know which path to take. On one hand, Nelson and I have built a life together. We have a house, shared friends, and plans for the future. Throwing all of that away over some text messages seems extreme. But on the other hand, I don't know if I can ever trust him again. The thought of always wondering who he's texting or where he really is when he says he's working late is exhausting. I've also been thinking about my own past relationships. Before Nelson, I was in a long-term relationship with a guy who cheated on me multiple times. I thought I had worked through those trust issues, but this situation with Nelson has brought all those old feelings back to the surface. I'm scared of being that girl who gets cheated on again. Lisa thinks I should tell my parents what's going on, but I'm hesitant. My parents love Nelson, and I know they'll be devastated if we split up. Plus, I'm embarrassed to admit that my marriage might be failing after only 3 years. I feel like I've let everyone down somehow. I've been trying to keep myself busy to avoid dwelling on the situation too much. I've thrown myself into work, picking up extra projects and staying late at the office. My coworkers have noticed that something's off, but I haven't told anyone at work what's going on yet. I'm afraid if I start talking about it, I'll break down. Any advice would be appreciated. I feel lost and alone, and I don't know how to move forward from here. Update when it's been 2 weeks since my last post, and things have taken an unexpected turn. I want to thank everyone who commented and offered advice. Your support has meant a lot to me during this difficult time. After much consideration, I decided to reach out to Paula. I know many of you advised against it, but I felt I needed to hear her side of the story. I sent her a polite message explaining that I knew about her communication with Nelson and asked if we could meet to talk. To my surprise, Paula agreed to meet. We met at a cafe, and what she told me left me speechless. Apparently, Nelson had been lying to both of us. He told Paula that we were separated and in the process of getting divorced. He had been telling her that he wanted to rekindle their relationship but needed time to finalize things with me. Paula showed me messages where Nelson had explicitly told her about our supposed separation. He had even gone as far as to tell her that we were living apart and only keeping up appearances for the sake of his family. I felt like I was going to be sick reading those messages. I was shocked and devastated. Not only had Nelson been emotionally cheating on me, but he had also been actively trying to pursue a relationship with Paula while we were still married. Paula seemed genuinely surprised to learn that Nelson and I were still together. She apologized profusely and said she never would have continued talking to Nelson if she had known the truth. Armed with this new information, I confronted Nelson. At first, he tried to deny everything, but when I showed him screenshots of his messages to Paula, he broke down. He admitted to everything, the lies, the emotional affair, and his intentions to leave me for Paula. Nelson begged for forgiveness, saying he had made a huge mistake and that he really loved me. He claimed he got caught up in the excitement of reconnecting with Paula but realized he didn't want to lose me. I was too hurt and angry to even consider forgiveness at that point. I packed my bags and moved in with Lisa permanently. Nelson's family, especially Emma, has been blowing up my phone. Emma left me a nasty voicemail, accusing me of driving Nelson away and saying I was never good enough for him anyway. It's clear they don't know the full story, and Nelson has probably twisted the narrative to make himself look better. I've been struggling with whether to tell Nelson's family the truth. Part of me wants to clear my name, but another part just wants to wash my hands of the whole situation. Lisa thinks I should expose Nelson's lies, but I'm not sure if it's worth the drama. In the midst of all this, I received a surprising message from Josh, 32M, an old friend from college. Josh and I had dated briefly in our sophomore year but decided we were better as friends. We lost touch after graduation, but he had heard through mutual friends that I was going through a tough time and reached out to offer support. We've been talking a lot, and it's been nice to have someone to lean on who isn't directly involved in the situation. The past 2 weeks have been a roller coaster of emotions. Some days I feel strong and empowered, ready to move on with my life. Other days, I can barely get out of bed. I've been having trouble sleeping and eating, and Lisa is starting to worry about me. I've also been dealing with practical matters. I went back to our house when Nelson was at work to collect more of my things. It was surreal being in the space we had shared, seeing all the little reminders of our life together. I found myself sitting on our bed, holding the stuffed animal Nelson had won for me at a carnival on our second date, and just crying. I've been trying to keep busy at work, but it's been difficult to concentrate. My boss noticed that something was off and called me into his office. I ended up breaking down and telling him everything. To my surprise, he was incredibly understanding and offered me some time off if I needed it. I'm considering taking a week or two to clear my head and figure out my next steps. Financially, I'm in a bit of a bind. Nelson and I shared all our accounts, and I'm worried about what will happen if we separate. I've made an appointment with a lawyer to discuss my options, but the thought of going through a divorce is overwhelming. I'm still processing everything that's happened. I feel betrayed, angry, and sad, but also relieved in a way. At least now I know the truth. I've consulted with a lawyer about starting divorce proceedings, but I haven't filed anything yet. I'm taking some time to focus on myself and figure out what I really want. Thank you all again for your support. I'll update again when I have more news. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone again for their support and advice. It's been incredibly helpful during this difficult time. After much deliberation, I decided to tell Nelson's family the truth about what happened. I couldn't stand the thought of them believing I was the one who ruined the marriage. I sent a detailed email to his parents and siblings, including screenshots of Nelson's messages to Paula as proof. The response was mixed. Nelson's parents were shocked and disappointed in him. They reached out to apologize to me and offered their support. They said they had no idea Nelson was capable of such deceit and that they were heartbroken for both of us. Nelson's father even offered to help me financially if I needed it during the separation. Emma, on the other hand, doubled down on her hostility. She accused me of fabricating evidence to smear Nelson's name and said I was trying to turn the family against him. She sent me a long, angry email detailing all the ways she thought I had failed as a wife and how I had driven Nelson to seek comfort elsewhere. It hurt, but I realized I couldn't control how she chose to see the situation. Meanwhile, Nelson has been trying everything to win me back. He sent flowers, written letters, and even showed up at Lisa's place unannounced, which resulted in Lisa threatening to call the police. He claims he started therapy to work on his issues and begs for another chance. He says he realizes now that he was taking me for granted and that losing me has made him see how much he truly loves me. Part of me is tempted. We did have good times together, and the thought of throwing away 6 years of history is daunting. But every time I start to soften, I remember the lies and the betrayal, and I know I can't trust him anymore. In an unexpected twist, Paula reached out to me again. She felt guilty about her role in the situation and wanted to make amends. We've actually started to form a friendship of sorts. It's strange, but it's nice to have someone who understands exactly what I've been through. Paula has been incredibly supportive and has even offered to testify on my behalf if the divorce gets messy. As for Josh, we've been spending more time together. It started as just friendly support, but I can feel something deeper developing. We've been going for coffee, taking walks in the park, and just talking for hours. It's nice to feel appreciated and respected again. Josh is patient and understanding about my situation, and he's not pushing for anything more than I'm ready for. I've officially filed for divorce. It was a hard decision, but I know it's the right one for me. Nelson didn't take it well when he was served the papers. He's been alternating between begging me to reconsider and lashing out in anger. He's threatened to make the divorce as difficult as possible if I don't agree to try counseling with him. I'm focusing on rebuilding my life now. I've started a new hobby, painting. I find it therapeutic, and it's helping me process my emotions. I'm also considering a career change. This whole experience has made me realize life is too short to stay in a situation that doesn't make me happy, and that includes my job. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. The divorce was finalized last month, and it feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Nelson fought the divorce every step of the way, making the process much more difficult and drawn out than it needed to be. He continued to alternate between begging for reconciliation and lashing out in anger. There were times when I almost gave in, especially when he brought up all our shared memories and plans for the future. But I stayed strong, reminding myself of the betrayal and the fact that I deserved better. In the end, the evidence of his emotional affair worked in my favor, and I got a fair settlement. I kept our house, which was important to me as I had put a lot of work into making it our home. Nelson got to keep his car and most of our shared savings, which I was okay with as long as I got to keep the house. Emma, Nelson's sister, eventually came around after Nelson's behavior during the divorce proceedings showed his true colors. She reached out to apologize for not believing me initially. She admitted that she had always been protective of Nelson and had a hard time accepting that he could do something like this. While we're not close, it's nice to have cleared the air. Paula and I have maintained our unexpected friendship. She's been a great support throughout this process, and we've bonded over our shared experience of Nelson's deception. We meet up for coffee regularly, and she's become someone I can truly confide in. It's strange how life works out sometimes. As for Josh, our relationship has continued to grow. We're officially dating now, and it's been wonderful. He's patient, understanding, and respects my boundaries. It's refreshing to be with someone who values honesty and open communication. We're taking things slow, but I'm excited about our future together. I've made some big changes in my life. I quit my old job and started my own small business doing freelance graphic design. It's been challenging but incredibly rewarding. I've always had a passion for design, and it feels great to be my own boss. I've even landed a few big clients, which has been a huge confidence boost. I've also kept up with painting, and I'm even planning to showcase some of my work in a local art fair next month. It's nerve-wracking to put my art out there, but But Josh has been incredibly supportive and encouraging. Looking back, I'm grateful for the strength I found to leave a toxic situation. It wasn't easy, and there were many times when I doubted myself. But I'm so much happier now. I've learned a lot about myself through this process, my resilience, my worth, and what I truly want in a relationship. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your kind words and advice helped me more than you know. This will be my final update.